right, let's get down to it. And today we're going to start with some NBA action. Unfortunately, we haven't had too much NBA action thanks to the coronavirus pandemic. But there was something I did want to address, and that was the NBA's plan to return to action. So currently, the NBA is proposing doing a 22 team, bringing 22 teams, so that would be the 1 through 8 seeds on both sides, and then the remaining 3 teams in each conference. Then there would be some regular season games, a play-in tournament for the last seed, and a playoff. 22 teams. NBA has the one stadium down in Orlando at the Disney Complex. And perhaps they forgot why they canceled or postponed the season to begin with, which was, like I mentioned, the coronavirus pandemic. They're still, with only about 400,000 recovered and 100,000 dead and 1.9 million cases, there's still about 1.4, probably 1.5 million people with the virus. And that's just the reported ones. So it's still out there, it's still a threat, it's still a pandemic. And bringing back 11 teams on each conference for 22 teams times 12 to 15 for the players is ridiculous. It's not helping society. It goes against the whole pandemic. I know you're not going to have fans, but still you're going to have to jam pack those games in with all those teams, all those players. It's a lot to handle. And frankly, my idea was an 8-team playoff. Now I know you're thinking, 8-team, that cuts the 16-team playoff in half. But whoever said putting half the league in the NBA playoffs was a good thing to begin with. So my plan would go a little bit something like this. We have the 1 through 4 seeds in the East. Milwaukee, they finished with a 53-12 record. Toronto Raptors finished with a 46-18 record. The Boston Celtics clinched with a 43-21 record, and the Miami Heat finished with a 41-24 record. Now, the other thing to maybe include the other team, because it was only 2 games back, were the Indiana Pacers, who were also tied with Philadelphia, but that's 2 more teams. Indiana won the in-game regular season series between Indiana and Philly 2-1. Therefore, Indiana would get the bid to play Miami in a best of 5 series for the chance to play Milwaukee. So it'd be Milwaukee, winner of Miami versus Indiana in their bracket, and then Toronto and Boston playing each other. The winners would move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. The winner of that would move on to the finals. Some interesting facts in the Eastern Conference is that from the 7th seed down, all those teams from 7 to the end have losing records. 10th seed down were all eliminated from the playoffs when we left off. Which means under the NBA's plan of bringing back 22 teams, we're going to have 2 teams that were eliminated from the playoffs potentially vying for the 8th seed. Talk about action and entertainment. I don't think anybody really wants to watch the Bulls play Milwaukee. I don't think anybody wants to watch Orlando play Milwaukee. Especially in these times, no fans. So the action on the court has to be even more exciting because you don't have the fans pumping up the game. So nobody wants to see that. And also, there were no teams where you could say, "Whoa, we were hot. We were making a run for it," because the longest winning streak from the 6th seed down was 3 in a row when we left off. So there wasn't really a team making a run for it at the end. Now, let's move over to the Western Conference. We got the 1 seed Los Angeles Lakers with a 49-14 record. We have the 2 seed Los Angeles Clippers with a 44-20 record. We have the 3 seed Denver Nuggets, who had a 43-22 record. And the 4 seed was logged up by the Jazz with a 41-23 record. Now, again, like in the Eastern Conference, we had a 5th-6th tie at 40-24. Oklahoma City Thunder won the series against the Houston Rockets in the regular season battle. which would again give them the edge in my playoff proposal or return proposal, which means they'd play in a best-of-5 series against Utah, and the winner of that would go on and play the Lakers in a best-of-7, while the Clippers and Nuggets would play in a best-of-7. The winners of those would move on to the Western Conference Finals, and the winner of that moves on to the Finals. Fun facts, in the Western Conference, from the 8th seed down, all the teams have losing records. The biggest win streak, same thing, from the 6th seed down was 2. So really, again, nobody was on a hot streak, rampage, making a comeback. I believe, actually, 8th seed and down, I think the next, to the Lakers, the team was like 21.5 games back from the Lakers. But for whatever reason, the NBA believes that team deserves a chance to play the Lakers. I disagree. And secondly, my plan keeps it so we got less players, less chance for spread of coronavirus. We got one stadium. Means you could do 2 games a day with no rush, no extra contamination or whatever. So it works perfectly in that sense. Many people saying, well, how could you just start a playoff without resuming these guys to action? These teams played 65 games, and they're only 2.5, 3 months removed from that. Closing in on 3 months removed from that. They're NBA professional athletes. You give them a 2-week, 3-week notice, they'll start getting back into shape. They could allow them to open their facility so they could scrimmage with their teammates. And really, I think that's all you need. What do you do week 1? You just have the preseason games, and who's trying all out in those? So I think you could get the same with in-games or practice scrimmages with your team as a preseason game, and I think they could get into good enough game shape so that we could finish out this season. So that's my thoughts on what the NBA should do to return. It doesn't look like it's heading there because many owners and teams and players were saying, we need to open it up. I don't even think they were considering doing less than 16 teams, but now they've gone on and added 6 more teams to give those teams a chance, even though, like I said, they all had losing records. But I guess it doesn't matter what you do to get in, even though if you're going to go out in the first round. I don't know what the big deal is. But, so, that's the plan I propose. Let me know what you think. Disagree with me? Agree with me? Let me know. Post in the comments. And thanks for watching this one. We'll be back shortly with NFL draft coverage. Stay tuned.